Children's rights organisation Molo Songololo says more needs to be done to protect the rights of children, particularly in context of the law. This comes in the wake of the prison sentence that was handed down this week to an Eerste River teenager convicted of the July 2023 murder of 14-year-old Naeema Marshall for allegedly refusing his advances. The 10-year sentence he's now received for the murder has sparked debate over the leniency by the courts to violent juvenile offenders. It's also raised questions as to what more needs to be done to prevent generational violence, especially in gang-riddled communities. Our reporter Latashia Naidoo is on standby and walks us through some of the conversations, Latashia, around this issue. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Hugo. Like you mentioned, the murder of 14-year-old Naeema Marshall back in 2023. Her killer, then just 15 years old, Naeema was, of course, murdered at close range for allegedly rebuffing the advances of the teenage boy who just this week was convicted in the Blue Downs Magistrates Court of just 10 years imprisonment for her murder, served concurrently with 3 years imprisonment for the illegal possession of a firearm, as well as an additional year for the illegal possession of ammunition. And Hugo, this case in and of itself has raised so many questions, not just with regard to the so-called leniency that the courts appear to have shown the perpetrator of this crime, but also to the issue of access to weapons that children, particularly in areas like the Cape Flats that are gang-riddled communities, have on a daily basis. But here to talk to us more about this situation, this very tragic situation, and how it's affected the lives of two young people is Patrick Solomons, who is the director of children's rights organization Molo Songololo. Patrick, a tragic story, but not just Naeema Marshall, that 14-year-old who's lost her life as a result of this incident, but the perpetrator himself, a teenage boy whose life, as a result of his very violent actions, have now been changed forever.
Yeah, that is quite, there's a seriousness about it. Like two lives, both of them have changed forever. One is now a victim, died, and the other one's life is completely changed. He's going to go to jail. He's still a child. When we came to know about this case, we were, of course, quite shocked about the incident, but it's nothing new, really. In this case, the sexual harassment that happens in public against girls landed up in a fatal result. The person, the victim of this sexual harassment, died, was shot. And I think that is what we are dealing with every day. Girls, every day, every community are experiencing sexual harassment from boys and men. And we find that in areas like, where the child was shot in Mitchell's Bay and across the Cape Flats, girls in particular experience very severe sexual harassment on the Cape Flats. If you don't look at me when I call your name, and if I catcall you, then I'll swear at you. If you don't come to me, I'll throw something at you. If you don't give me a kiss, I'll kill you. And that is the kind of thing that we've experienced that, from working with girls, in particular on the Cape Flats. Every year, for example, we do a campaign with girls at Atlantis, Delft and Beaufort West, where we address the issue of public sexual harassment. Far too many people are silent about this. Men get away with murder on the streets, as we've seen with this young male child at the moment. And so it is pervasive, it's generally everywhere, and we need to do something about it. We need to call it out more, because it can result in children being killed and women being killed, as well as men as well. We've seen that. Now, we've seen last year, for example, I think the stat is just over 300 children killed, but they're very silent on the number of children who kill other children. And I think that's also where we need to do a lot more work. Most of the rapists and murderers in South Africa are young men, right? There's a group from 18 to 24, which makes up a large part of these perpetrators and offenders of murder, of rape, of violent crimes in South Africa. So we do have a serious problem. We do have a serious problem that even children themselves can kill. So that is a big concern for us.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for that insight. Here you go, Patrick Solomons from children's rights organisation Molo Songololo, speaking to the pervasive nature of this violence, the systemic nature, affecting in particular young girls and women in high crime areas like the Cape Flats. And of course, we know, like Patrick just pointed out, in some instances, rebuffing advances or catcalls can result in death, like in the case of 14-year-old Naeema Marshall. Back to you, Hugo.
Latashia Naidoo bringing us that rather tragic story, and with it, the issue around children killing children.